Nathan, I wanted to kind of back up and look at your first semester here because I know it was a tough one. So if we get a snapshot of what that looked like, we'll really be able to appreciate what you've experienced since then. So you want to just give us a little picture of your first semester here?
Well, yeah, my first semester was really, really tough for a couple reasons. The first one, I'm married, have 3 kids, and we came all the way from Puerto Rico. So just starting with that, I had a big move, of course, and we were supposed to be here at Lee at the Caracords housing, and there was no apartment, and that was a big shock for us because then, well, we're going to be where we're going to be living then, and but God started to put everything in place, and there was this lady that housed us from almost 2 months, and we were just all my family. We were there in a room. We lived there for all that time until somebody called me here. Hey, your apartment's ready, and that was like a big, big relief for us.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And academically, it was really tough as well. My undergrad was it was music, but we didn't focus a lot on what we call classical, but of course it's more just in the classical music. But my undergrad was more focused on jazz and popular music. So the theory, the language, everything was so different from what Lee teaches here. And so one of the biggest hits that I got was from theory, and man, it was tough. It was really, really, really hard for me to grasp all that. And since this was supposed to be a review from undergrad, so and I think Dr. Patty actually does an amazing job of compiling all that into one class. But I mean, again, it's a lot of information especially for somebody that hasn't been involved with that kind of theory. So it was tough. There were some times, real times, when I said, I'm done. I don't, this is not for me. I'm just gonna go and see what I can do with my brother down there in Florida and just move or do something else. And I was really serious about just quitting.
I remember 2 times you were about ready to just, at least that I knew of, when you were just ready to call it done, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it financial too?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just everything just pushes into. I mean, it's against you financially and academically. Everything just you start to see everything gray and dark and you don't seem to see like a light at the end of the tunnel. But people like, again, and I'm not just saying this, people like yourself, Dr. Patty, and so many other professors that actually encourage me to just keep on going, just pressing on, and I want to share this with you again, that one of the things that shifted the way how I was seeing things is that I was practically doing this because of the class, and I was not focusing maybe on the purpose of it. What I mean by that is just that the Bible says that we need to do everything that we do needs to be like if we were doing it for Christ, for God, for His glory. And I was doing all these assignments just for the sake of it, just because I wanted to pass this class. And it was one of those devotionals that you talk about, doing things for God, and I mean, giving everything that we have, even though we don't, Anyway, so that kind of thinking got me into doing things as best as I can for God, for His glory, and not for a nay or for just a P for pass. And from then on, everything just, and it wasn't like all roses and flowers, but something changed. Something changed in me, and I started having more confidence maybe, and just knowing that God would help me through all this.
Yeah, and he did. Here you are, you're about to graduate. Do you want to talk a little bit about your life this last semester, maybe, to give us sort of the backside of this story?
Well, after that was my very first semester. After that, of course, other tough classes came along. But again, I mean, I was with a different mindset. And yeah, I mean, my last semester was different, of course, from beginning to end. I was seeing things differently, and knowing that God had now put all these tools in my hand and in me to go and just use them for His glory. So you're saying just to talk about
your worship festival?
Oh, okay.
I mean, you were up singing and
yes,
doing it all. Conducting.
I had to go. Yeah, that's another topic there. Conducting. I started with. I had no conducting in my undergrad degree, and Dr. Brad Moffat, he made me took actually undergrad conducting and fundamentals of conducting, which has actually helped a lot as well. And God makes, I mean, everything that happened to me here at Lee, I know it was God directing me and directed the professors for me to go through all those classes. Sometimes we deal with pride, sometimes we deal with stuff that we think that we know, but we don't know anything at the end. And it was very, very helpful for me to go through all these classes of fundamentals and to just to see that you don't know all that you think you know. You know, and that was really good for me to grasp that again. Yes, the worship festival, it was a really amazing experience for me. It was really stressful as well, because you need to organize every single step of this whole event. And again, I know God has called me to be leading in worship, and not only through from the stage, but with our lives, which is actually more important than just singing and playing. I have to do everything. I have to do conducting. I have to direct a choir. I have to direct a church band, church orchestra. It was really at first intimidating, but by the end of the semester, well, I was more confident. Of course, I was more, maybe because I knew time was just there for me to actually do everything and accomplish everything. But it was amazing. I had a good time doing that.
That's neat. That's neat. Comprehensives. You made it through comprehensives this semester too. That's a big one.
Yeah. Of course, English is not my first language, as you may already notice. But I think the most important thing from comps that I got is that I kind of knew that I know more stuff now, right, from all these questions. I was able to, for the majority of them, to type down several of the questions and be able to respond them with clarity, I think, and knowing what I'm talking about. Though they were hard, and the orals were actually more stressful than the written ones. But it is a really nice experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of affirming to get through all these big projects and tests and say, God saw me through it all, and I feel like I'm equipped, I'm ready to do the work that God has for me.
Yes, yes.
Now you've got some opportunities here. Well, let's talk about the Phoenix one maybe, or whatever you'd like to say about the future.
Well, my life since I was a kid My mom, she will always speak life and blessings into not only me but my brothers as well, and they're doing great as well. But I mean, I'm like the not the black sheep. I don't want to say the black sheep, but the separate one. And this is something that I don't think nobody knows here at Lee. That I had a really have a testimony actually that I almost died when I was a baby, and it was a really tough time for my parents. I had 3 major operations that I for one part of my intestine, it was not working, and it was a really tough time. But God, I mean, my mom, she started, my dad, of course, started to speak life to me, and they knew something different was going to happen in terms of what I was going to do when I grow up. And from early on, I knew God was calling me. I was like 7, 8 maybe. I didn't know what was that. Like, God, I feel like doing something for you. I don't know how. And by then I didn't know anything about music. I started when I was like 13, so kind of started late. But I was saying that because yes, I mean, God has a purpose in my life and in your life as well. Whoever is watching this, God has a purpose and a destiny for you. And the thing is that God has been opening doors now for me to go to this place, and we're going to have an interview for me to be a worship pastor of this church. It's in Arizona, and I think God is going to do amazing things, not because I'm going, because He's actually doing amazing things already in that place. But again, it comes back to equipping yourself and having all these tools in order to put them into practice and put them in God's hands so He can do something through you. And now I feel that, and now I can gladly say thank you, Lord, because I went through all this really hard process for me, and that I can see the fruits of it. Now I can see how you actually from a distance, I can see how you orchestrated everything, so I can now be now where I'm supposed to be. And yeah,
That's great.